That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
Fight. And I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
So Israel Majamov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson shared his thoughts after training with Terence Crawford, highlighting the importance of staying calm before such a huge fight against Canelo Alvarez. He explained that a fighter always faces intense pressure on such a stage, but the real battle is psychological. According to Tyson, if Crawford can control his mind and avoid being overwhelmed, he can perform at his best and make winning look much easier.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like, get on, stand on. Pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
It's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl. I see every...
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fight sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pimp with one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, a seasoned boxer who once shared the ring with Canelo Alvarez, acknowledged the sheer magnitude of a potential clash between Canelo and Crawford. Khan praised Canelo as a great fighter with unmatched experience, but also pointed out that Crawford possesses real punching power. With Crawford gaining weight and adapting to the division, Khan sees him as stronger than ever before. He stressed that this is not a one-sided contest, as both Canelo and Crawford bring incredible skill sets to the ring. For Khan, this bout represents more than just another fight. It's the meeting of two extraordinary talents, each capable of shifting the outcome with a single move. While he admires Canelo's proven dominance at higher weights, Khan cautioned that Crawford's ability to adjust, adapt, and rise to new challenges makes this showdown unpredictable.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot,
We're not catching
Make me think.
We're not catching and shooting.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner, I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, what's wrong? I said, nothing. Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, Sean, tell me what's wrong. I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, your legs kind of tight. He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It's a habit problem.
He said, all right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round. And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah, so, to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost around.
Whatever.
I ain't know where around is. Chill out.
He don't even know where around is. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford. Takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
analysts have also underlined concerns surrounding Crawford's age and experience at higher weight classes. By the time this fight potentially materializes, Crawford will be 38 years old, facing the natural decline that comes with age. While he did step up to 154 pounds to fight Israel Madrimov, that single bout hasn't convinced all observers that he is ready to stand toe-to-toe with someone as seasoned in higher divisions as Canelo. Age in boxing isn't just a number. It affects speed, reflexes, and recovery, which are critical against a relentless opponent. While many agree that Crawford's skills remain razor-sharp, they warn his body may not respond with the same intensity as before. For them, this fight represents the biggest test of his career, not just technically, but physically and mentally.
He is successful September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his training team, however, have consistently emphasized their preparation. They point to their focus on avoiding the mistakes made by Jermell Charlo, who lost convincingly to Canelo. Crawford insists he is not Charlo and that his style, discipline, and ring IQ set him apart. His team has been working on strategies centered around movement, precision, and smart pacing. Their approach makes it clear that brute strength alone won't defeat Canelo. Instead, they aim to frustrate him with defense and capitalize on counters. Training camp has been intense, with rigorous conditioning and sparring sessions designed to mimic Canelo's power and pressure.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's
Even so, technical experts and analysts have highlighted the natural risks of moving up in weight. As boxers climb divisions, speed and agility can be compromised. Recent photos of Crawford looking noticeably bulkier sparked debate online. While some argue pictures can be misleading due to lighting and angles, the underlying question remains, at his age and with the added weight, can Crawford maintain the quickness that has defined his style? Extra muscle brings more power, but it can also reduce endurance and flexibility. This balance between strength and speed may ultimately decide how well Crawford adapts in the ring against Canelo.
The man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, one of the most respected trainers in boxing, has dismissed the idea that Crawford stands a real chance against Canelo. Sanchez described the matchup as more of a sparring session than a genuine contest, arguing that Crawford is simply too small to compete with Alvarez. His comments reflect a widespread sentiment that Canelo's natural size, strength, and experience in higher divisions give him a decisive edge. According to Sanchez, while Crawford is a great fighter, greatness cannot always compensate for the physical realities of boxing.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to The Ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri, however, takes a different perspective by criticizing the level of hype surrounding this matchup. While fans and promoters have called it one of the biggest fights in boxing history, Algieri disagrees. He argues that although it is an exciting event, it is far from the best ever. According to him, the contest doesn't measure up when compared to historical clashes that featured evenly matched opponents in their primes. Algieri warns that the public may be overestimating the drama of the bout, especially since Crawford is stepping into unfamiliar territory against a proven champion at higher divisions.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. Certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody said it. So thank you.
He didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
what's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
all right, I'm
exactly.
out of here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like, I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year, to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
The boxing analyst showbiz, The Adult, has emphasized the disparity in the quality of opposition both fighters have faced. He argues that none of the opponents Crawford has beaten could realistically handle the caliber of fighters Canelo has gone up against. This perspective highlights the difference in resumes. Canelo has consistently fought and often beaten champions across multiple divisions. Crawford, despite his undefeated record, has not faced the same level of established threats. Critics of Canelo sometimes claim he cherry-picks easier opponents, but supporters counter that almost every fighter he's faced has been a respected champion. When comparing resumes logically, Canelo's career path has been much tougher, with elite-level opposition at nearly every stage. By contrast, Crawford's flawless record lacks opponents of the same stature.
Name the fighters Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence that Crawford fought, that Kell Brook that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training footage reveal Crawford's intense dedication as he prepares for this challenge. His routines include strength training, high-level sparring, and conditioning drills aimed at improving endurance. Crawford has been experimenting with different training methods to ensure he can withstand heavier punches and longer exchanges expected against Canelo. His focus is not only on physical fitness, but also on mental toughness, with his camp stressing discipline and composure. The heart of the debate lies here. Crawford must deal with Canelo's relentless style. Against Errol Spence, Crawford dominated, But Spence did not possess the size, strength, or strategic patience that Alvarez brings to the table.
And that usually breaks him down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he's perfected that rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches like just to take off the steam off the punches.
Stay tuned, and don't forget to share your thoughts. Who do you believe has the edge in this historic clash?